What do Pakistan's national anthem, one of Muhammad Ali Jinnah's most famous photographs, and the Mayor of Karachi in 1946 have in common? They all have a Goan connection. A Goan photographer took these photographs of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Arthur Sequeira, a Goan musician, worked on the composition of what later turned into the national anthem of Pakistan. Tolli Fonseca, and the mayor of city of Karachi in 1946 was Manuel Misquita. And here's the surprise. An estimated 12,000 Goans once resided in the city of Karachi. So how did they get there?
In the early 1800s, Karachi was a sleepy fishing village. By mid-1800s, Goans began arriving in search of work. They came by dhows.
So it goes back to the mid 1800s. As a matter of fact, to be more precise, when the British had sort of annexed Karachi city after they had captured the province of Sindh in 1839, that the earliest Goans might have come sometime in the late 1830s or early 40s. So the first ones to arrive, I think it was the Diablo family, and then followed by the Misquita family. They came out of Goa to sort of seek economic opportunities, see business opportunities, and so forth. They're kind of business minded, and when they came, they sort of did what they thought they could do, working side by side with the British. The schools were coming up at that time, the churches were being built around that time.
They found opportunities, succeeded, and by 1889 they had formed their own Goa Portuguese Association, and by 1894 set up the Indian Life Assurance Company, the largest in British India.
Another interesting point to note, during this time, the population of that little town, supposedly a town, it was not developed at all, it was just coming up, a lot of vacant land, would have been anywhere between 35,000 people and 50,000 people, not more than that. So this is the very early part. So some of those seniors went into business, like the Misquitas set up a bakery in 1858. Still went on. There's a whole history behind this bakery. And then, of course, the Misquitas, many of them who came very early, they were kind of educated. And they knew the left from right and what to do and how to deal with people and talk to people and so forth. And they succeeded in that way. Their families, they're probably family members, wives and children, were the first teachers, first Goan teachers in missionary schools. And they actually formed the basis of Goan education, which was later to become the all-important contribution of Goan Catholics in Karachi and then later on Pakistan. They were kind of spread in a place which was called the camp area. Later on, it famously became Sadar, which I've also called Little Goa in the latter part of my research and so forth. And because the camp area was kind of connected to the seaport, midway between the seaport and the airport, connected with a main road that was called the Bandar Road. So most of the British establishments came up within this area.
From 1900 to partition time, many more Goans, skilled as well as semi-skilled, came to Karachi. A large part of the community lived around Sadar. They opened khurds to help each other, representing the villages of Goa. For many, this was their first home in Karachi. During these 5 decades, Goans were everywhere, in churches, convents and schools, judiciary and municipality, hospitals, businesses and administration, music and sports.
Contribution of Karachi Goans of British India to British India of that time is huge. Anthony Stanislaus de Mello. I mean, he's an iconic name as far as even today's India is concerned. So if the BCCI is rolling in fortunes, that is a
Correct.
brainchild of a Karachi Goan. So such little contributions are many. Even the first cardinal of India was a Karachi boy, Valerian Cardinal Gracias, right? Born,
Yeah.
raised, educated in Karachi.
And these old buildings still carry traces of that story.
Music was a big part of Karachi's Goan story, and that's where Tolli Fonseca comes back in. A Goan connection to Pakistan's national anthem.
As far as Tolentine Fonseca was concerned, he was a kind of a master musician who was qualified as a composer of regimental music in the 1920s, right? And he used to have his own orchestra, his own band, and he would conduct regiments of that time, and called upon to sort of compose music by the British forces and regiments of during that time. And the most important one is called the Officers' March. So when this time came for the music, for the anthem of Pakistan, of course there was a kind of a national competition, and many good musicians were part of it. Many submissions were made, and finally a tune that was submitted by a gentleman called Ahmed Chagla, right? That was selected, and that tune needed kind of a notation music, so that it could be played by orchestral ensembles and bands and brass bands and choral societies and choral groups. So Chagla knew Fonseca very well, and they were friends. So as family friends, because this was disclosed to me by the Chagla family, and apparently, and yes, it is confirmed that Chagla did go to Fonseca and request him to notate the music so that it could be played not just by not only to be sung by in its melodic form, but also its harmony side. And he composed the music, rather he wrote the music for every instrument of a brass band.
And then the name started popping up. Peter Paul Fernandez, the first Goan Olympian in all India. Manuel Misquita, Mayor of Karachi. Arthur Sequeira, photographer of Jinnah. And Goan sportsmen and women representing Pakistan.
Jinnah has a very iconic picture which is sort of seen everywhere, right? And I was sort of trying to figure out as to who the photographer was, because there was a little indication within the community that it was taken at the Sequeira studio. So I started researching. So sometime in 1945, Mr. Jinnah came to the studio. He wanted to take his profile picture, I believe, which he sort of use it because it was close to the independence time, 2 years later and so forth. So he came there, he took that picture. That picture was taken by Mr. I. Sequeira's son, Arthur Sequeira, right? Arthur clicked that picture. During that time, no color photography, I would believe. So the picture was taken in black and white.
Black and white.
So the photo was taken in black and white, and then the studio artist hand colored it in the same color as he was wearing. So that's how the picture came about. Jinnah liked that picture very much. As a matter of fact, he was good friends with the Sequeira family. When Pakistan came into being in 1947, that photograph appeared on his passport, the very first Pakistan passport. It appeared on the currency of Pakistan, and that time it was both West Pakistan and East Pakistan. So the earlier notes had inscriptions in English, in Urdu, and in Bengali. And this very picture of Jinnah was on those notes. During partition, of course, there were so many others. If you're talking about police, you're talking about the armed forces. If you're talking about administration, you're talking about heads of institutions, both government and private. There are many names, right? And they have
Yeah.
huge contributions. Then there are musicians who made a huge difference. All of Goa and probably all of jazz India
Correct.
might
Yeah.
have heard the name of Mickey Korea, right? Mickey Korea was a Karachi boy who sort of made it big, and he played at the Taj for 30 consecutive years.
Yeah.
And then comes the 60s and the 70s. They were more into sort of musicians and sort of sports people, both men and women. Many of them donned national colors. They were big names. The first Goans in all of Goa, India and Pakistan, to play Test cricket for Pakistan are two names, Matthias Wallace and Anthony D'Souza, right?
Wow.
Matthias Wallace played 22 tests and Anthony played 5 tests. There were so many Goans who was simply world class as far as all India hockey was concerned. So a lot of contributions. The name that comes to my mind is that of Jack Brito and Milton DeMello and Oswald Nazareth. These three gentlemen went to the Olympics. And then in 1952 at the Helsinki Olympics, there was Jack Brito. So Jack Brito was an exceptional sports person. He was so good that at the height of his success, he was called to represent Pakistan, not just in hockey, but in cricket as well.
But what was Karachi for those who grew up there? Former Education Director Dr. Celsa Pinto was born and raised there. For her, Karachi was simply home.
Well, as you know, I was born in Karachi, Pakistan in November 1951. So that is post-partition, that is in Pakistan. I was raised there till the age of 13. I have to say with all honesty that I have very fond memories of the place. No bitterness at all. I'm very clear in my head that the place was safe, clean, and well organized. The then capital of Pakistan. I would like to begin with my place of residence, 8 Lothian Mansion. The building was at a right angle to St. Patrick's Cathedral and to the very famous Empress Market. And Goans, let me tell you, not only Catholic Goans, but Hindu Goans. Just below us were Rikers. And a lot of my mother's gold has been produced by them. Cathedral was flanked by 2 schools, St. Patrick's and St. Joseph. So I was a Josephite. I can't remember any school here in Goa equal to that. It's ironical that a director of education former director of education should say this. It had a big library and a big reading hall. The school was run by Irish nuns, but many of the teachers were Goans. I remember the cathedral where I was baptized. But most impressive of all was the monument in front of the church. Monument that was dedicated to Christ the King.
Then came 1947, and some families faced a very different reality. One of them was Sunanda Damodar Lotlikar, taken to Karachi as a 3-year-old in 1946. Her childhood was shaped by what followed.
आमचो बाबा 45 सालांत पयलीं एकटो गेल्लो आनी मागीर तो थंय रावून आयलो आनी मागीर आमकां सगळ्यांक व्हेली सगळ्यांक आनी आजी आशिल्ली आमचे बरोबर तिका बसून सगळ्यांक व्हेली थंय आनी ती शाळें बिळें घातली भुरग्यांक हांव ल्हान आशिल्लें म्हाका घालून नाशिल्लें बरें मजेत जगलीं आमी ते मजेत आई सांगताली आजयल्या सांगता आनी नुस्तें बिस्तें बरें मेळटालें हे न्ही तें दर्या हय हय आनी ते हवा बंदर म्हणून बीच आशिल्लो आनी थंय एक व्हडलें देव माशाचो कांटो आशिल्लो तो जाल्यार म्हाका याद आसा म्हणजे कितलो व्हडलो इतलो आसतलो हय आमच्या हॉला येदो व्हडलें जावपाचें जातलें म्हणून खबर आशिल्ली पयलीं आनी आमचो बापूय इंडिये येवपा तयारी करतालो वता वता म्हणून पूण ताका तो मोतीवाला सोडनाशिल्लो ताणें सोडलो ना ताका म्हणजे आनी तूं कांय बी नाका कितेंय जावं आपूण पळयतलो हम मरेगा तुमको बचायेगा अशें म्हणून बापूय रावलो तशें म्हणून ताणें इतलें हें सांगलें मागीर अचानक हो उठाव जालो ते तांकां मातसो दुबाव आशिल्लो कोणी तरी हिंदू आसा हांगा ते आयले अशे तिसरे मजल्यार बसून आयले आनी ताणें तांकां अशें सामकें आडायलें हांगा कोण ना हांगा हिंदू चला तुमी हांगा हिंदू कोण ना आनी तांकां सामकें आनी वयरच येवपा दिलें ना आनी आमकां तो भायल्यान लॉक करून भितर रावा म्हणलें शीक येवपा जायना खोकपा जायना सामको अजिबात आवाज करपा जायना अशें तशें केलें म्हणटू ताणें केलें आसतलें ताणें आनी तांकां परतयलें आनी मागीर गव्हर्मेंटान आमकां म्हाका ती मातशी याद आसा ट्रकांत उक्ती ट्रकां भोंवतणी हे ते संगीन आशिल्ले हे घेवन आर्मीचे लोक मदें आमकां बसोवन आमकांच न्ही आनीकय आशिल्ले आसतले लोक आनी तशें करून मागीर खंय ते कॅम्प आशिल्ले ते सिंध कॉलेज म्हणटा ते थंय हाडून पावयली मागीर बोटीन इंडियेक मुंबय हय
But the community continued.
In the early 20s, successful Goans who were beginning to make a life for themselves and their families, they believed that they had come to a place where they could live the rest of their lives. And at that time, there was a lot of open land that was available. And wherever Goans were located in the camp area and areas between the camp and the seaport, they all had to go to St. Patrick's Cathedral for the church services. So a group of educated and influential Goans came together and thought that maybe we could sort of move into a place that was lesser congested and form a kind of a colony there. And because it was led by a member of the Diabro family, his name was Cincinnatus Diabro, a collector of customs in his own right, and one of the founding fathers of Cincinnatus was the Goan gentleman who was part of this founding fraternity. And the town came to be known after his name, Cincinnatus. His name being Cincinnatus Diabro, so the town was called Cincinnatus Town.
Children were born in the new country and grew up. Families built their lives. Karachi remained home.
St. Lawrence's Church came up in 1931. In another 5 years, it's going to be 100 years for that church. And around the church were these plot of lands which Goans had purchased, and they started living there for many years to come. And following that, they also formed additional Goan enclaves, which is called the Catholic Colony number 1 and the Catholic Colony number 2.
Okay.
So these were well-placed Goans who could afford to buy plots and build their homes. And then because of the contribution, the municipality named the roads and streets around Cincinnatus town after them. Some of the names that I can give you right now are names like Brito Road. The Brito Road today, to date, is one of the major arteries of that locality.
Okay.
Then there's a Diabro Street, there's a De Cruz Road where the church is located. There's a Pedro de Souza Road which runs across Brito Road. So several streets are named after Goans during that time.
And Goa remained close through language, food, faith and community. Besides the Karachi Goan Association and Goan Union, a group of like-minded people that kept the connection alive was the Goankars' own academy.
We have programs, especially a feast celebration at the cathedral. We have a very special service on that day, and we have a little celebration get together, which we have a little Goan thing like sorpatel and Goan food. Goan cuisine is given there, sannas and sorpatel, all those sort of things are served. So this is how we celebrate also here, St. Francis Xavier's feast. Oh, Christmas is excellent. I would say it's full-fledged. With you really feel it is Christmas here. We really celebrate with parties, and we have clubs, we have dances, and a lot of get-together for Christmas and for New Year especially.
Okay.
So it's a well planned programs are held here for Christmas, and not really a lot well in advance from December. A lot of programs ahead. We have in the churches, we have carol singing programs, get-together programs, children, all these sort of programs are held for the children.
And they came back to Goa too. Peter Mendes led pilgrimages from Karachi to Old Goa. For many, it wasn't just a trip, it was a return.
But basically, every year we used to organize this pilgrimage because of St. Francis Xavier. And in 2024, we had a big group, but unfortunately, visas were not granted to a number of them who couldn't make it. But I think about 150 people came there and for the exposition. Father Robbie De Silva was here.
Oh, okay.
Very well-known priest.
Okay.
We call him Robert De Silva, basically, and very active father. And he started in the 80s. He brought very big, large groups, and when I also traveled with him, and the nation carrier made special arrangements also for the feast of St. Francis Xavier. Gave a very special service. They kept two flights were made because it was chartered, and during that time to visit for St. Francis Xavier's feast. In the 80s, I think, 80s when for the exposition, yeah.
Okay.
Then after
84
that,
maybe.
somewhere in 2000 or 2004 also there was one program by Father Robbie Disson. And gradually this group was very big. More than like 400 people or 500 people would visit Goa. And arrangements, those things at that time was very easy, that was not difficult. Both the countries were very, you wouldn't feel that you are traveling to India and with all the sort of thing what is happening today. Those days were just like you going and coming back. It was very simple, very simple.
Yeah.
And visa was also very simple, not difficult.
From the 1950s onwards, people began leaving. First, in small numbers, then as families. Canada, UK, USA, Australia, Goa. Many opted for jobs in the Middle East and remained there.
The seeds of migration started in the early 50s, and to be exact, April of 1953, when the first, beginning with just two friends who left Karachi, went to Canada via UK, via ships, and eventually landed in a place called Halifax in Canada. So early 50s, mid 50s, 60s, when more and more families started moving out, and then there was a kind of an exodus in the 70s and in the 90s. That is where the largest number of families moved from Karachi to places like Canada and Australia and the UK and USA. Mostly to Canada and quite a number in Australia.
The community did not disappear, it scattered. Today, what remains are the buildings, photographs and the memories.
The Karachi Goan Association still exists, the building still exists, the members still exist. Then there was another building which was built by the Goan Union in the other part of Sadr. A smaller building, but yes, a lot of involvement of Goans over there.
But the stories need to be preserved because this is part of Goa's history too.
Karachi Goans, they are a lost tribe of Goa. And indeed it is, indeed. And this is what, I would like to in the future see, that maybe a kind of a museum of Karachi Goans to be established somewhere. Goa would be the best place to have it. How is, nobody knows how that can happen. But yes, probably digital, yeah. But so that Goans everywhere can have a look at it and post these little stories about the history of Karachi Goans.
For generations, Karachi was home and still is for some. Then the community scattered across the world, but they carried Goa with them in their food, their language, their memories. Because you can leave Goa, but sometimes Goa doesn't leave you. They may be the Lost Tribe of Goa, but they were never really lost. They were simply Goankars of Karachi.